Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love diving into true crime stories that uncover the shocking realities behind some of the most heartbreaking cases, you're in the right place. Today, we're exploring another devastating case that will leave you questioning the very nature of trust and betrayal. And hey, if you're new here or haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It's the best way to support the channel and never miss a new story. Let's get started. Trust is the foundation of every friendship. But what happens when that trust is shattered in the most unimaginable way? On a fateful night in Córdoba, Argentina, a young woman's life was brutally taken. Not by a stranger, not by someone she feared, but by someone she called a friend. This is the heartbreaking and shocking story of Catalina Gutiérrez, a 21-year-old woman with dreams as bright as her future, dreams that were extinguished in the most chilling way possible. Catalina Gutiérrez was many things. A daughter, a sister, a friend. To thousands on social media, she was an influencer, a rising star whose posts about architecture and design inspired her followers. To her professors and classmates at the National University of Córdoba, she was a dedicated student, juggling her online presence with her studies in architecture. To her friends, she was a confidant, someone you could count on for advice, support, and laughter. But above all, Catalina was a young woman full of life, with plans to make her mark on the world. Córdoba, where Catalina lived, is a city steeped in culture and history. Known for its colonial-era architecture, bustling plazas, and a sense of community where everyone seemed to know each other, it was a place where safety felt almost guaranteed. In this vibrant backdrop, Catalina's life unfolded, filled with aspirations and the warmth of close relationships. Yet, what began as an ordinary summer evening in July 2024 would become a night her family and the entire community would never forget. It started with plans for a simple outing. Catalina had arranged to meet friends for a bowling night at Patio Olmos, a popular shopping and entertainment hub in the heart of the city. Earlier that day, she had exchanged voice messages with her boyfriend, confirming her excitement for the evening ahead. She even assured him she'd let him know once she arrived. It was a night like any other, until it wasn't. When Catalina didn't show up to the bowling alley, her friends began to worry. They called her phone, but there was no answer. Hours passed, and worry turned to alarm. Her family joined the search, calling everyone they could think of. When all efforts failed, they reported her missing, knowing that this was out of character for someone as dependable as Catalina. The city of Córdoba would wake up to headlines of a missing young woman whose absence felt like a hole in the fabric of their close-knit community. But Catalina wasn't just missing. Her iPhone's location services, activated by her sister in desperation, painted a horrifying picture. The GPS signal led to a deserted area in the Ampliation Kennedy neighborhood, a part of town known more for its isolation than its charm. There, they found Catalina's mother's car. It was partially burned, a chilling sight that immediately sent a shiver through her family and the authorities. Inside the car, in the back seat, was Catalina's lifeless body. The discovery sent shockwaves through Córdoba and beyond. How could someone as loved, as full of potential, meet such a tragic end? Who could do such a thing? As investigators began piecing together the events of that fateful night, the answers would lead them to someone no one suspected. Someone Catalina trusted implicitly. Someone she called a friend. Catalina Gutiérrez. Catalina was a force to be reckoned with in the world of social media. With over 100,000 Instagram followers, she had cultivated a community of admirers who looked up to her creativity and passion. She shared her love for architecture, frequently posting snapshots of buildings that inspired her, and offered glimpses into her life as a student at the prestigious National University of Córdoba. Balancing the demands of her studies with her growing online presence was no small feat, but Catalina managed it with grace and enthusiasm. Beyond her academic and online achievements, Catalina was known for her kind heart and vibrant personality. Her boyfriend described her as a dreamer with boundless energy, someone who could light up any room she entered. Her friends echoed these sentiments, recalling her unwavering support and infectious optimism. Catalina's life seemed to be on an upward trajectory, full of promise and potential. Nestor Soto. Among Catalina's circle was Nestor Soto, a 21-year-old classmate from the architecture program. Originally from Bariloche, a picturesque city nestled in the Andes, Nestor had moved to Córdoba to pursue his studies. To those who knew him, Nestor appeared quiet and reserved, often keeping to himself. However, he had forged a bond with Catalina, visiting her family home on several occasions and earning the trust of her loved ones. Their friendship, though seemingly innocent, would soon be revealed to hold darker undertones. The evening of July 17, 2024, began with the anticipation of a fun outing. Catalina had confirmed her plans to meet friends for bowling at Patio Olmos, a favorite destination for young people in the city. Before leaving, she sent her boyfriend a voice message, assuring him she'd update him when she arrived. But Catalina never made it to the bowling alley. When her friends realized she was missing, they assumed there had been a simple miscommunication. But as hours turned into the night, their concern deepened. Calls to her phone went unanswered, and Catalina's absence became more unsettling with each passing moment. Her family joined the effort, retracing her steps and contacting anyone who might have seen her. When no trace of her could be found, they contacted the police, knowing something was terribly wrong. Catalina's sister, desperate for answers, activated the location services on her phone. The GPS signal led them to a desolate area in the Ampliation Kennedy neighborhood. There, they found her mother's Renault Clio, parked on a dirt road. The sight of the partially burned vehicle was haunting, but what awaited inside was even more devastating. Catalina's body lay in the back seat, lifeless. The discovery was a blow that sent shockwaves through her family and the broader community. Police arrived at the scene, cordoning off the area and beginning their investigation into what could have led to such a gruesome end for someone so beloved. Law enforcement wasted no time securing the scene and collecting evidence. They meticulously examined the car for clues, noting the signs of an attempted cover-up in the vehicle's partial burning. The authorities began questioning Catalina's family, friends, and acquaintances, piecing together her final moments. Initial theories ranged from a random act of violence to a targeted attack, but nothing prepared them for the truth that was about to emerge. Witnesses were interviewed, timelines reconstructed, and evidence scrutinized. In these early stages, investigators had little to go on but were determined to uncover the events that led to Catalina's tragic death. The city of Córdoba, meanwhile, watched with bated breath, desperate for answers in a case that felt both shocking and deeply personal. The investigation began with meticulous attention to every detail at the crime scene. Forensic teams collected evidence from Catalina's mother's Renault Clio, documenting traces of accelerant used in the attempted burning of the vehicle. They uncovered fingerprints, fibers, and DNA samples, which would become critical in piecing together the events leading to Catalina's death. An autopsy later confirmed the cause of death: asphyxiation due to strangulation. Multiple blunt force injuries suggested a struggle, a tragic confirmation of the violence Catalina endured in her final moments. Forensic experts also ruled out sexual assault, an important finding that helped narrow the scope of possible motives. The brutality of the crime pointed to someone with deep emotional involvement, someone who knew Catalina personally. Among the names provided by Catalina's friends and family, one stood out: Nestor Soto. Investigators learned of his close relationship with Catalina, their shared classes, and his frequent visits to her home. Nestor appeared cooperative at first, but inconsistencies in his statements began to raise red flags. He claimed to have been at home on the night of Catalina's disappearance, yet phone records suggested otherwise. The turning point came when Nestor confessed. During an intense police interview, he admitted to killing Catalina, describing her as the love of his life. His obsession with Catalina, compounded by jealousy over her relationship with her boyfriend, became the focus of the investigation. Detectives uncovered messages and behaviors that revealed a disturbing pattern of fixation, culminating in the ultimate act of violence. Catalina's murder sent shockwaves through Córdoba and beyond. Vigils were held in her memory, with hundreds gathering to mourn the loss of a bright and beloved young woman. Social media lit up with tributes, as her followers and friends shared memories and photos, keeping her legacy alive. The media's coverage of the case brought national attention to issues of gender-based violence, sparking widespread outrage. Community leaders and activists called for justice, emphasizing the need to address the societal factors that contribute to such tragedies. Catalina's family, devastated by their loss, became vocal advocates for change, determined to ensure that no other family would endure the pain they had experienced. The case of Catalina Gutiérrez became more than a story of one young woman's life cut short. It became a rallying cry for awareness, justice, and the prevention of violence. As the investigation progressed, prosecutors formally charged Nestor Soto with simple homicide. However, the evidence, including forensic findings and his own confession, prompted an elevation of the charges to aggravated homicide, taking into account premeditation and the gender-based violence component. This adjustment carried the possibility of a life sentence, reflecting the gravity of his actions. Key evidence solidified the case against Soto. His fingerprints on the vehicle, DNA traces on Catalina's clothing, and the timeline constructed from phone records and witness accounts painted an indisputable picture of guilt. Yet, the prosecution faced challenges in ensuring a fair trial. Soto's defense team argued emotional instability and attempted to portray him as a young man overwhelmed by unrequited love, a narrative that risked garnering sympathy. Public sentiment also presented hurdles. The high-profile nature of the case meant intense scrutiny, with opinions polarized between demands for the maximum penalty and calls for understanding Soto's psychological state. Balancing justice with the pressures of public outcry proved to be one of the prosecution's most delicate tasks. Pre-trial hearings revealed more about Soto's psychological evaluations, which described him as deeply obsessive and incapable of accepting rejection. His fixation on Catalina was evident in text messages and diary entries submitted as evidence. The prosecution leaned heavily on these findings to argue premeditation, painting a chilling picture of a calculated act fueled by jealousy. Catalina's family attended every hearing, their presence a stark reminder of the life lost. In emotional statements, her parents described the devastating void left in their lives, emphasizing Catalina's aspirations and the joy she brought to those around her. These moments underscored the human cost of the crime, leaving an indelible impression on those in the courtroom. Despite the detailed investigation and court proceedings, some questions lingered. What triggered Soto's decision to act on his obsession that night? Were there warning signs that went unnoticed? Catalina's friends and family grappled with these uncertainties, questioning whether anything could have been done to prevent the tragedy. For the broader audience, the case raised important discussions about the safety of social media influencers. Catalina's public presence may have made her more accessible, a factor that resonated with other influencers who shared concerns about boundaries and personal safety. The story served as a cautionary tale, sparking conversations about recognizing and addressing obsessive behavior in relationships. The trial of Nestor Soto remains one of the most closely watched in recent Argentine history. As of the latest updates, Soto's legal team continues to push for a lenient sentence, while prosecutors steadfastly argue for life imprisonment, citing the premeditated nature of the crime. The courtroom has seen its share of dramatic moments, from tearful testimonies by Catalina's family to expert witnesses dissecting the psychological profile of Soto. In Catalina's memory, her family and friends have launched initiatives to combat gender-based violence, including educational campaigns and partnerships with organizations focused on relationship safety. A public mural depicting Catalina's vibrant personality now graces a prominent wall in Córdoba, serving as both a tribute and a reminder of the ongoing fight for justice. Catalina's story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the dangers that can exist within close relationships. It highlights the need for awareness, not just among individuals, but within communities. Her life, though tragically cut short, has sparked conversations about the importance of recognizing unhealthy behaviors and the necessity of early intervention. If you or someone you know is experiencing obsessive or controlling behavior, please reach out to someone you trust or seek professional help. Awareness can save lives. And if you have any information about a case like Catalina's, please contact the authorities. Every tip matters. Catalina Gutiérrez's story is a tragic reminder of the dangers that can exist within even the most trusted relationships. As we reflect on her life and the impact she left behind, we are reminded of the importance of vigilance, awareness, and standing against gender-based violence. What do you think could be done to prevent similar tragedies? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.